Hello, hello, hello. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've got this on at the start because I didn't want to mess with it later on, but I wanted to introduce you to my other team member. As you know, I'm doing research these days for the last couple of years, particularly the last year or so. And I'm not part of the main Moodle products thing anymore, and I'm in a team of 2 people, myself, and who knows Eloy Lafuente? You know Eloy? So Eloy is in Spain, and this is how we've been working together lately. And I'm going to share my screen here to my Mac, and you can see what I'm seeing.
I see a password.
How does that work? Are you seeing anything yet? A password? Well, that's weird. That's not right. What is that? Best laid plans, eh? I will... No. There we go. Let's try that again. Whoop. And mirror my view to my... all your MacBooks are showing up. There's a big list. And terrifically, mine is not showing up anymore. Why is that? You know it was working 5 minutes ago? You know how these things are. I can send it to Amy, Jerry's, Guy's, Marius, Sam's, and mine has completely disappeared. I would love to have this working. So Eloy and I each have a Vision Pro headset. This is an Apple Vision Pro headset. And you know what it is? I think it's because you all came back in here and you've just soaked up the Wi-Fi for me. That's probably what's happened. Oh, I won't be able to show you. Delegate, yep, no, this is online. I really want you to see this, so I'm just going to reboot my Wi-Fi here. Get back on and see if it wakes it up. There it is. Oh, you know, is there some HDMI thing, protection going on? I don't know why I'm getting this password coming up. I'm not even able to enter a password, it's just the image on the screen. Huh. Anybody have any ideas? And then when I do it, it makes my laptop disappear. Damn it. It was, oh, let's try one more time.
No worries, Martin. Go ahead.
All right, you can hear him. That's a start. Well, look, what I am seeing right now, and I'm gonna it's such a shame I have to describe this to you, is Eloy standing right here. And I can see every hair on his chin. It's so detailed, every movement. And I can grab him and take him over here and put him over here on the stage. And as well as I can see everything that's going on as clearly as anything, but Eloy is standing right here. I don't know what that is. Maybe I'll work on it while we'll do the other things and I'll show you at the end. All right, so hang around, Eloy.
Okay.
Do you want to say something to the audience anyway? Say hello.
Yeah, hello, and enjoy the Mood a lot.
Okay. All right. We'll catch you later, I hope. All right. See you, man.
Ciao, ciao.
All right. Bye. You know what? It must be a FaceTime thing. Anyway, that's what I'm seeing, right? You can see me here.
Yeah.
There you go. But obviously, when I'm on FaceTime, it didn't work. It worked before. Anyway, some sort of DRM, I'm sure. That's why everything should be open. So I work in this thing probably about half the day, and you can pull up all sorts of screens. I have all these things around the house. It's a real interesting mix of getting the digital world into your real world. And when I'm working with Aloy, sometimes I grab him and I take him down to the kitchen so I can make myself a coffee, and then take him back up to the office. And it's really, really interesting and fun, and also productive. But I'm not going to wear it anymore. What I am going to talk to you about, now this is a workshop, and when we planned it, I was expecting a different setup than this, like we had in previous years with tables and so on. I was going to get you doing a lot more group work. We're going to have more of a collaborative brainstorm instead. I have 2 hours. I could easily talk to you for 2 hours. So many people applied to have presentations at the conference that some of you, maybe you're not here, but a lot of people were not accepted for presentations, and I felt those people had to be here at the conference. The important people was in AI, in Moodle. So I've invited them into my session. So this is like a little mini session. We're going to have 5 presenters, including myself, and I'll introduce them all later, but I'm going to start off and tell you what I've been doing. So what is Moodle Research doing very quickly? I am in the best learning phase of my life. I am learning so much. I'm learning about learning, I'm studying my learning, I'm really getting deep into a lot of fields, not just education and technology, everything. Because ultimately what I'm trying to do is get clear on what the future looks like in 10 years, 15 years. So that I can help guide us towards a good future. And there are many futures ahead of us, and I'm sure you're very aware of what's happening in the world right now. And I would like to see goodness and openness succeed in the world. So to do that, we have to have big plans. So we're exploring AI tools, we're doing a lot of prototyping, we're creating things. We run a Moodle AI community group. Anybody here who is in that group already, in the chat or in okay, bunch of you. Good to see you. And we have a meeting every 2 weeks. We have a chat group on Matrix. If you want to come and join us, if you're just interested, just come. We welcome everybody. Moodle.me/research. One of our projects that's available is WikiRag. It's called that because it's quite generic, but actually we built it to absorb all the Moodle docs into a RAG system, retrieval augmented generation, and then you can have a Moodle expert that is trained on all of Moodle docs. But you can actually point it at any wiki, so it's quite generic, and we encourage you to use it. It's an open source project that we put out. Aloy has built that. We're working on something called MoodleBot, which is an internal agent. It's not public yet, and we've gone through several iterations just inside our team. Even Moodle HQ haven't seen them yet. We're iteratively trying to build an AI that is a useful team member in a work context. Something that can live in the team and know what's going on and actually be a useful agent 24/7. We write occasional research reports. We gather information from the community to assist the products and services teams. And we do a lot of speaking. I'm doing a lot of speaking. Aloy is not a very public person. But I'm doing a lot of talks around my city with all kinds of groups that I haven't normally spent time with. Some governments. I'm going to Laos in November to talk to a lot of education ministries. So not just about Moodle, but about the future, and also to learn from them what's going on as well. So that's some of the stuff we're doing. I should have got a clicker. Now, I'm going to go back. I'm going to talk about 3 main things. I could have talked about so much, and I had to really try and narrow it down. Even so, I'm going to be rushing through these. So if you're going to take photos, take them quick. You don't have to. I'm going to share all the slides at the end, and you can have them all, right? There'll be a document, and you can get it all later. AI I agree with what Marcus said yesterday. It's not intelligence. It looks like intelligence. It's really it's a worker. We figured out a way to take a whole bunch of data and build a mathematical structure that can do useful work. And it's the same kind of work that an intelligence can do. It doesn't mean it's intelligent. And from the training data is very important, and then you have prompted task outputs. Obviously that's an AI-generated image. It's very important in this world to separate these two things because they're often conflated. AI as a science is freaking amazing. It's a public good. It's the result of decades of researchers around the world, teams working on lots of aspects, and it's coming together. And this generative AI in the last 5 years has really obviously exploded. But the technology behind it and the research behind it is incredible, and a lot of people have been working together for many, many decades. On the other side, you have these AI companies that they haven't invented all this themselves. They're taking this technology and research and building companies around it, and they're very focused on profits, on scaling, on exploitation, and in risk. They are causing a lot of risk. Microsoft shoving AI into every little corner of their ecosystem, or Google, having AI running when you didn't ask for it, right? You're just doing a Google search, you get AI queries are running in the background. You didn't ask for that. Those kind of activities are causing billion-dollar data centers, all this trillion-dollar talk, all this problems that we're seeing, water, and so on. And that's bad, really bad. And we have to separate those two things. A lot of people, when they talk about AI, mostly they're thinking ChatGPT for some reason, right? And it's not. It's just a company, and it's not AI. AI runs and is running in many, many ways on this little device, not even on the cloud, right? AI can run on any hardware. It can be as open as any other technology. AI capability is exponential. This is happening, and we are still at the beginning of it. The AI we're seeing now is the worst we're ever going to have. And it is soaring. It will be exponential. There will be robots. And those humanoid robots are already very functional. They're already able to do dishes and things. There are hundreds of robot companies building equally good robots. The competition is shaping up. And those things, you can already buy functional humanoid robots for, $20,000 US, say. I don't know what it is in pounds and euros, but it's like a small car. Some of you might be choosing between a second family car or a robot, right? It's not going to be crazy expensive, and they'll get cheaper and cheaper. I won't talk about robots a lot, but I must say I far prefer what China are doing with robots than any other country, because they are building open robots. They're selling open source robots, open hardware, and you can put your own software on it and program them yourselves. Now, counter to that exponential curve is this curve. I guess you've all seen the Gartner hype cycle before. Now, I've seen this play out on lots of different technologies, and I think it's pretty accurate. Now, the length of the curve varies for different technologies, but currently I feel like we're about here. The hype is starting to go down. We're falling into the trough of disillusionment. There's a lot of pushback against AI, a lot of people saying AI, all the AI company stuff I talked about. AI is getting a lot of pushback and a lot of negativity about its hallucinations, about the errors, about the lawyers with briefs, with legal references that don't exist, and blah, blah, blah. All of that is happening, and of course, we are a lot of disillusionment. But under the surface, the exponential curve is still happening. And as we sort it all out, we will move into a slope of enlightenment and into a plateau of productivity where AI really is built into things, everything. What is different this time is it's the first time we've built a technology that improves itself. So the hype will increase. It will be possible in a couple of years, max, to say to an AI, please rewrite all of Moodle in Python. Think about that. Or maybe in a couple more years, oh, build me a company like SpaceX to launch rockets and, you know, have factories full of robots and do all the orders and all of the negotiations with other companies and suppliers and all that to build that. Like, maybe that's a couple of decades away, but it's coming, right? The scale of the power will be unimaginable. So that's a very, very interesting world that we're coming into. Now, enough about that. I'm going to talk about now a little thing that I've been working a lot on lately, which is copyright. This is one of the disillusionments. Who's getting the data? Where is the data coming from? How does it work? And before I get into that, I just want to talk about music because I'm a professional musician. Who was at the jam last night? Can I have some hands? Great jam, good energy. That was so much fun. I am a professional musician because I have some songs on Spotify under the name of Mantis Audiogram, and I have earned 3 cents on Spotify. So, professional. But I am down there with the 74% of artists who make less than $10,000, and it's not enough to live on. The musicians who make enough to live on, it's like 4% maybe, 2 or 3%. So you can't really say that the way music works now was fantastic, right? To be an artist right now, there's this, you have to be a struggling artist. You have to work as a barista and, like, you know, support yourself. It's not fantastic, is it? So I see AI not as a threat to the existing system. I see AI as an opportunity to rewrite and improve the system. Very quickly, in the current world, I think that creators' rights should be respected, but I do think if you put something out in public, it's fair game for training. And the reason I say that is because the internet is machines copying data around. It's just how it works. You can't say, oh, you're allowed to copy a document from that server to my browser so I can see it, but you're not allowed to copy it from that server into a system that's going to read it and learn from it. Like, if we're putting it out there, it's out there. That's currently. But that causes a lot of problems. Our system at Moodle Cloud has been battling AI scraper bots that are just coming across the internet, just scraping everything. As every server, probably, has anyone else been experiencing that on their own servers? Anyone AI, probably, like scraper bots? They're not always AI, but yeah, I can see 10 or 20 hands up. Now that's not great, right? Just having, these are VC-funded, profit-focused companies with huge valuations, and they have no compunction to avoid scraping the whole world. They need it all now. We're going to make money from it. Scrape, scrape, scrape. You know, they probably vibe coded some script to go out and do it. They don't care. They're not checking. They're not looking at any rules. And there's nothing to stop them. And only big companies like Disney have the lawyers to actually fight back. And they're just more corporates, right? The average person has no leverage in this situation. So in one slide, I'm building a kind of a policy framework that, and it's not final, I'm still working on it, it's in development. What I'm trying to do is work out a system, if you could bring in the right regulations and the right technologies, can you build a system where AI can flourish and have plenty of data to use, and people who create data, because we're always going to have people creating data, can benefit and survive. And we don't have the long tail of artists making 3 cents a year. If you want to go read more about this, so I mean, look, the first one there, anyone know what robots.txt is? It's like a little file you can put on your web server, about 50 of you. It's kind of a suggestion. There's no laws that say you should support it. I think it should be law. So if someone breaks that rule, you can sue them easily. And there should be like a government entity there that is able to check and do look at logs and work out that this person has broken the law. Labeling is really important. I believe we should know what is AI generated. And not just is it AI generated, because that makes sense maybe for an image. But AI is not a 0-1 thing, right? Any of you working with AI knows that you have a lot of input into AI. You are the one driving it. You are causing it to make things. If I generate something with AI, I'm going to make something very different than when you do it. So there's always a mix. And there are many schemes for that, but there's one recently, I'll just show this, that came out very recently that I think is super promising, RSL. This only came out last week. And it's from Tim Riley and the people who involved in RSS. RSS is one of my most favorite standards in the world. Simple streaming data. RSL is a way to add licensing to anything. So you can put these statements, the same statements, in a robots.txt file. You can put them in an RSS feed. You can put them in a web page. You can put them on documents. And it's standard and consistent. So a super cool thing just came out, and it's a really good move. So essentially, the idea would be, just to summarize what's here, is that you would have central community, or say communal licensing places where you register your content with, and they sell it to AI companies. And they're we tilt the market so that AI companies are kind of forced to buy their content from these places. And so all the profits from AI are going back to creators. If you want to read more, please get on my blog at dougiamas.com, and I've got a blog post there with a lot more about it. Here's an empty slide for I don't know why. Now, let's talk about AI in education. This is the main thing. A really good way to look at AI in education is to separate what is work from what is learning. If you're thinking about work, your goal is to create an output, a high quality output. And you want to do that fast, and you want to do that efficiently. In that case, let's throw AI at it. Let's make AI do the work and get it done. Why are we wasting our time just creating outputs when AI can do those things? If you're talking about learning, your goal is the process. You need a high quality process. Your focus should be on the effort and the struggle that the brain is doing. And so the AI role can only really be to provide an environment. Getting an AI to write your assignment for you is like sending a friend to the gym. Right? It doesn't help your muscles, it helps theirs. So this is a very important first step. So often when you're looking at a very particular case, let's say in Moodle, but let's say anywhere in education, is it a work thing or is it a learning thing? So AI for work, you're very familiar with it. I'm sure you're all using it for work. These are the things it's very good at. It's very good at generating, and very good at converting, very good at summarizing, very good at data analysis, very good at coming up with ideas, ideation, and very good at tasks and managing tasks. And so that's what MoodleBot is focused on, all the task management in a team. Now, there are a lot of frameworks for learning before I talk about learning. I guess you're familiar with Bloom's. There's the top one there on the corner there, know, do, live together, be, is the UN pillars of learning. And down the bottom is a hierarchy of competence. And there are probably 50 billion other models around learning and that are out there. This is my version of all of those, like my distilled version. It's the model I use when I'm thinking about learning. So the first level is you remember, if I tell you something and you remember that thing, that's the first level. I can recall some information. The second level is I understand it. I can explain how it works. The third is embodying, which is like it's part of me. I'm starting to do that intuitively. Like speaking, right? I'm speaking right now. This is all my stuff that I'm into, so I can just give you a talk right now. I haven't written or planned anything I'm saying right now. I'm just reacting to a few prompts. And teaching is the final level. If you can understand something to a level where you're so embedded in that, you can understand what the other person is, where they are, and you're able to feed them and interact with them in a way to help them understand that thing. That's like the highest level of learning. That's why I love teachers so much, because they're all so smart. Now, look, all these other people put their names on it, so I've made a pyramid as well. So there you go, Martin's level of learning. I'm going to make it that. I don't care. You can use that if you want. Now, let's dive into learning. Passive learning is mostly remembering. When you're watching a video or reading a bit of text, it's mostly that level. A lot of stuff you look at every day, you will have forgotten later that day, or tomorrow, or the day after. And it feels like it's good at the time, you feel like you're doing stuff, but you're not really learning. You may remember that stuff. And using AI to generate things, so if you generate something and you look at it, you bypass all the friction of generating that thing, and so you may remember what the AI has just made, or just like any other video or text on the internet, you'll probably forget it, right? You've worked with a bot, I guess, and done some work and had it generate a 50-page report on something, and wow, you scan through it quickly, and then, maybe you pulled a fact or two out of it. Do you really remember all of that? No, it's not learning, right? Now, active learning is where it's at, and this is what Moodle was built on. Moodle was built on a collaborative, active learning principle. And the whole point of Moodle is to create opportunities for people to interact and share and react to each other, and then get the brain working, get feedback happening. That's how you generate understanding and embodying. You move up those levels. And in neuroscience, there's a term called desirable difficulty. That's what we want. You need to work hard. Learning is work. So let's talk about understanding and embodying. Understanding is knowing the reasons why fresh vegetables are healthy. You understand they're full of vitamins and minerals and all kinds of complex proteins and enzymes and things that your body needs, right, for your health. And yet, even if you understand that, you feel a bit tired and stressed, you go to the kitchen, you'll grab a bag of chips or some rubbish, right? Something like that. You know you probably should eat some vegetables or some fruit, but you don't. Now, embodying is becoming that person who grabs a healthy thing, right? So that's the difference. Embodying is overcoming that inertia in yourself and in the environment, and maybe changing your environment so that you are starting to do the things that you want to be doing. And that's deep, right? Because that's emotions and beliefs and habits. We're talking about the territory of, a lot of people have trauma in their lives. A lot of people don't realize trauma is affecting them decades later. You have a funny behavior, you don't really know why, and it turns out if you go to a therapist, they find, there's some trauma back there. We're talking about very deep change inside your mind. So one way to help that is this model I quite like, the fog behavior model. Anybody seen this before? Anybody here? Teachers? About 5 of you. It's quite simple. You've got motivation there and you've got ability here. And there's an action line. If the current motivation and your ability is above the line, then when a prompt happens, say you're hungry, then if your ability to get some fruit is easy, there's fruit laying around. If your motivation is to get the fruit is high because you want to be healthy, then you feel hungry, you go grab some fruit because you're above the line. If the fruit is hard to get, or if your motivation is low, you won't. Right? See, a pretty simple model. So this is what leads to why things like gamification work, why chunking learning works, and why we can more effective prompts can work. So if we have reminders that are just in time, or we have case studies that change our mind about things, more effective prompts can help us push over that line and help us get towards the embodying stage. So, what does that mean for AI for learning? These are 5 major techniques for using AI in the learning context that have a much better chance of working than letting people generate text and assignments and all the other stuff that we're seeing. So yeah, 5 good models. And I'm going to show you some sample prompts for this, because you don't actually need to build complicated software to do this. You can literally just prompt any chatbot with this. So let me show you some examples. First, the Socratic tutor. So that forces the user, the student, to it guides their thinking process. It doesn't provide answers, it asks a lot of questions. So Socratic thinking comes from Socrates, of course, one of my favourite early Greek philosophers and teachers. And this is a sample prompt. You don't have to read the whole thing now. I will give it to you later. But you could write a prompt like this. Now you know that it exists, right? It's not that hard. But basically, never give a direct answer to any question. Your only tool is asking questions. Probe my understanding. So always get into my understanding. Be patient and encouraging. And start broad and then get specific. And if you try that prompt on any topic, you'll find it's starting to make your mind work. And that's what we want. All right, number 2, the practice partner. You get the AI to basically generate lots of practice problems and check them for you. So it could be, maybe you want to teach, it's got here Spanish verb conjugation, some language practice. A nice one to test it on is PEMDAS, the order of, when you're doing mathematics, of paragraphs and brackets and multiplication, all that. You just pop it in and it'll start giving you little problems, and you practice, and your mind is working. And you haven't got, if you try and do it all in your head, it's especially good. Of course you can use paper or whatever you want to help you, but it depends on the problem. So that's the second one. The third one, I have been talking about simulations in Moodle for 20 years. I've always been wanting someone to write the perfect simulation activity. And I don't know why I didn't really do it myself. I got too busy running Moodle, I suppose. But with AI, it's super easy now. So a simulation is you create a scenario and you get AI to role play the other people in the scenario so that you can practice the very thing that you are learning to be, to embody. In this case, you're learning to be a salesman and you're, maybe it's a workplace type training, and you want to learn how to be a good salesman with customers, and this will create a simulation where other characters are talking to you and you have to react to them and you have to be a salesperson. The example I used to use in the old days, some of you might remember, was the example of a nuclear power plant company that's trying to build a nuclear power plant in New Zealand. And you have Greenpeace activists, and you have the government organisation, and you have the nuclear power plant company. And it's like, okay, now they're all negotiating, right? And you have all them all working together. And that raises tons of issues. And you can create exciting simulations. Number 4, an instant feedback loop. Now, we know that learning happens especially well when you get instant feedback. If I am learning French and I say, bonjour or something, and a Frenchman goes, no, bonjour. Immediately, my synapses start correcting, right? Because I just made that mistake and the correction comes immediately. And so your brain starts to restructure. So instant feedback is what we're always looking for. And AI as a kind of a coach that gives you that instant feedback is a very powerful format. And there's a sample prompt there. But you could, for example, give it your assignment and say, give me some useful feedback. Don't fix it for me. Help me think about it, right? Give me that feedback on my assignment. Number 5, scaffolding. So if I'm learning to be a business analyst, it's quite distracting to keep going off and writing bits of Python code to analyze things and so on. So have the AI do the low-level tasks so you can focus on being the high-level task. This is what you're trying to learn, and then there's all this low-level stuff. So it's just assisting you, and it says, so you say, okay, now I want you to go off, like an intern or maybe an employee, and you say, go off and take this data and give me a graph that represents it, say, a simple task. Come back to the graph, and it doesn't say, oh, I think it means this and it means that. You're stopping it from doing that because you are doing the analysis. And then you say, I think it means this and this and this, now let's try that. So you're working with it in that way. So you just have to build a scaffold so you're learning the exact part of the problem that you need to learn. Now Moodle, as was mentioned this morning, has an AI subsystem. And this is the most simplest diagram I could think of to draw it for those of you who are not familiar. That's Moodle LMS at the bottom, and there's an AI subsystem kind of layer on top, and that's where you connect your language models. And then plugins then can consume and use AI through there. And the purpose of that is for admin. So the administrator of a Moodle site doesn't have to manage 40 different AI setups and configurations. For every plugin would have its own. You would do it once in admin, and then all the plugins use that. It's a quite standard Moodle model, actually. A lot of our subsystems are like that. But for LLMs, it makes a lot of sense. Now, it's not perfect, it's evolving, but I believe it's the best way for Moodle to keep administration of AI in Moodle something sane. So I would advise you use it if you're doing AI development. And if it's not suiting your purpose, please push back on, file bugs. Talk to the HQ team. Come to our all of our product planning things. Talk in the forums. Let's make it great. Let's make this AI subsystem something we can all rely on, and it works really well for all of us. But the actual interesting things are up there in the plugins and the features. And all the stuff I just talked about, these learning models, are up in that space. So this is the approach I think we should be all taking in building features for Moodle. A research approach. There is a lot of AI out there being developed from a relatively quick idea. Oh, we can generate a course. Yes, of course we can generate a course. You can say, hey, AI, generate me a course about such and such. And pretty much it does it out of the box, right? The rest is all just window dressing and stuff around it. And you can make that more and more complicated, and you can refine it and so on. Yes, but the idea of generating a course is not very hard. The ideas in education, in the kind of education I'm talking about, that active learning, where it really focuses on understanding and embodying something, those ideas are what we're going to be brainstorming later today. And I've shown you those 5 basic ones. And this is kind of the approach. So number 1, you start with small-scale qualitative studies. So, practice with a few people, think aloud. You don't have to actually make the code yet, just like paper prototyping even, just like model it, see how it works with focus groups. Is this a pedagogically sound idea? Secondly, then you build it in code. Make it as a Moodle plugin if possible, and you can vibe code these things, and Heikki's going to talk about that soon. Then measure and prove. This is important. This does not happen enough in the education field or the Moodle field. We don't do these rigorous studies. Some of you may remember 10 to 13 years ago, we had Moodle research conferences. Anybody been to a Moodle research conference? 1, 2, 5, good on you. I'm thinking we might bring them back. They were proper research conferences where we generated actual, we had papers. and we hit output. Do A/B testing, right? On a particular class, half use the technique, half don't use the technique. Do randomized controlled trials to see what is the impact in the short term. Do people learn better this way? Show it with numbers properly. And then, and this is done even less in education, show the long-term benefits. So come back to those students 6 months later, a year later, are they doing better? Did this really help them embody becoming whatever it is they were trying to learn? Are they getting better? That's what we have to be doing. Like, let's get real. It's not about fancy things that sell units. This is about like learning for the human race. Let's do it properly. And lastly, let's share it with the Moodle community like we do. The marketplace is looking fantastic, and the plugins database has always been there as a way to share. You know, that's what we do. We share this stuff. If someone can say, I've developed a plugin that does this fantastic thing, and here's all the evidence that shows it works, well, I would download that in a heartbeat, right? And install it. That's what we want. All right. So finally, just to wrap up here, work. You want to use AI to offload cognition. Get the work off you. If it's learning, get the AI to provoke your cognition. I find that simple rule helps you sort out a lot of the grey areas that we're all looking at. Because we get so swept up in replicating the processes of universities and schools and things that we've had in the past, work and learning are often intermixed. But if for a particular case you think like that, it does help sort it out. So that's my contact details. You can find me on Matrix and Mastodon. Mastodon is a much nicer place to be these days than any other social media network. Come on to Mastodon. If you want an account on openedtech.social, I can get you that as well. That's the server I run. Okay. Now, there's a document here. It's a bit scratchy. On your devices, just get in there now. We're not going to use it right now, but maybe we will. You can jot notes in there. It's just a document that has... yeah, I'm a bit over time, aren't I? I think we're okay. We're going to be brainstorming into that at the end of the session. So I have a section at the end after I introduce all of these lovely folk who are going to speak to you now. And we're going to come back to brainstorming around all those topics. So, you know, keep your brain going while listening to all of these things. And the real question is going to be, how can you start seeing, from what I've said, places in Moodle that we could modify, or we could add new things that start doing some of this kind of AI as a learning partner, right? We're just focusing on the learning mostly. But you can also be work as well. All right. I should have checked who's next. Who's next? Who is next? Okay, Heikki, of course. So I'll invite Heikki onto the stage. Thank you, Heikki. Thank you very much. Are you mic'd up? No. I use that. Oh, okay.
Hi, everybody. Later, but this is just a brief introduction and a question to you. So, I'm Heikki Vilenius from the University of Helsinki. I'm an anthropologist and a long-time Moodler. And, oh yeah, cheers. So, for the past year or so, I've been studying how large language models impact the work of software developers. And one of my case studies is the Moodle community. And recently I've been looking at concrete ways how LLMs could help Moodle developers, and more on that later today. But I want to run an experiment today. So please think of a Moodle plugin that doesn't exist yet, but you would like it to exist. And I'll try to vibe code it during the session, and then we'll revisit it in the end and see what came out of it. So, please. Any ideas for a plugin? Anybody? Hands up. Don't be shy. Okay. What competition? Say what? What
like this, where you challenge activity, okay? What kind of activity, what kind of challenge? Which you
encourage people to use the handhelds if you like.
always generated and answer the question, and with the answer you get the next answer, and you improve it like some mechanical style learning. How it is in math or something. So I don't quite get the idea. So can you try to read it? Okay, mod challenge. It provides a question to an user, and the user answers this question. Okay. As a result of this question, the user gets a new question.
What do you mean that's the result of the previous question?
Who goes to who gets a question that points the errors of the first question, or get it even harder to find the limits of the student, and finally to improve and make it much harder from time to time, from question to question, that finally the user has learned something new by answering questions. Yes, adaptive. Yeah, it's hard. I know.
Yeah, that could be prompted, but it wouldn't be nearly finished in an hour. So we need a slightly simpler example. There's a hand up. Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah.
So add like exceptions to all the quizzes in the course area for a single teacher. Like for, let's say they have a permit to get 15 minutes to all the quizzes. So you could do it with like one sort of panel. Okay, let's try that one. I think we could try that one, okay? Does it exist yet? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Are you happy with that, Heikki?
Yeah, I think we're running out of time now.
Yeah.
Quick comment.
Gather all the photos of a student in a cohort or a course, display them with their name underneath, but you have to guess at their names. I don't quite know how you do that, but basically, if you could just get something to show all of the photos on a page with their names hidden, that would be quite impressive. I would improve that afterwards.
I love that one as well, but I'm going to go with the quiz exception.
Keep it straightforward.
Panel. I'll try that one. Cheers.
All right, thank you, Heikki, and good luck. He's going to try and generate that plugin with AI in the next, you have about probably 50 minutes, 40 minutes. We'll see how you go. Okay, next up we have Michael Hughes is coming up, so come up, Mike. And Michael's talking about wet rag and sticky tape.
Yeah. Last time I spoke about this, it was about 20 people in the University of Stirling, so this is quite a big step up. So there's no slides, we're just going to tell a story about something we tried to do as an experiment at the University of Strathclyde. We funded an attempt to build an AI chat agent to basically serve as a virtual academic. We did this at a point where there was no Moodle AI provider at the time, but the plans had come out. They set out the model for when we do it. So we built this from scratch. We really wanted to sort of start exercising what it would be like to have a conversational interface with your course, and Moodle to be the backend to do that. So to do that, a slight technical detour, we extended the global search engine for Solar to become a web vector search. We made this plugin available on GitHub if you want to go to it. That's where the wet string and sticky tape comes from. It's very, very ropey, but it was enough to give us a working RAG backend. We built our own AI provider layer to deal with that and integrate that into what Martin showed on the slide in terms of that Moodle subsystem dealing with LLMs. Arguably, maybe it should be dealing with RAG as well. The interesting thing that we found actually wasn't actually showing people a conversational interface on their courses. Everybody we showed it to, we took this to our university generative AI working group for teaching and learning. they were kind of happy actually that people would talk to their courses. All their observations were actually much more pragmatic from the members of staff who have to run courses and put the content into it. And they've highlighted a couple of areas which we think are, even now we've evolved the ecosystem and it's become much more comprehensive, we're seeing lots more third-party products doing it, are still worthwhile bearing in mind and considering as Moodle goes forward and as the ecosystem goes forward. One of the key ones, and Martin touched upon this, is copyright content reuse is going to be a big issue for us. The first thing that came back from all our staff was, especially our librarians, is, yeah, that's really good, we can see the value of it, but we're not allowed to put that into an AI, which I think for a lot of us, where we think our Moodle content is already there, where are the controls of what we allow any AI system to do with our content? How do we indicate that? Now, we've got some places, we've got commercial offerings which take your whole Moodle site, they take all your content, put it in your cloud so that you can have a chat agent on it. That's great. How many of you can actually say that all the content you've got in your VLE is actually permitted to do that? So I think one of the things that came out of that is that as part of Moodle and working with AI and educating our staff, this whole concept of understanding what it means to put your content into an AI can be quite different depending whether you're talking about a content generation platform, you want to get new content, or whether or not we are talking about learning and the access that's needed to learning. And we'll come back to that because there's other ways in terms of some of the pedagogy effects come into that too. As a result of sort of throwing this sort of straw man to a lot of our staff, we came back with a couple of things that we think are really worthwhile discussing and sharing about Moodle and the sort of AI stuff that's coming in with all the new features and some of the things announced earlier today. We built upon the Moodle Global Search feature. We think that fundamentally this is actually one of the best parts of Moodle in terms of identifying content that is there to be used. And the traditional way is you want to find a document. Our work basically said that the indexer for Moodle is really good at identifying that content, but we need to find different pathways. Search for AI is very different from search for text. There are different processes. You don't want to be using the whole document, you want to chunk it. So we think with Moodle, we need to be talking about Moodle, how that subsystem works to actually get the best content chunking, indexing to drive these processes which are coming up. We think that this is basically, that's where the RAG interface in the Moodle subsystem really needs to come into it, where it needs to be there for all those other plugins that we want to build upon it, can access a centrally managed, coherent, and checked interface onto those search results. We also need to find a mechanism for our staff to have a UI to say, this piece of content can't go into any AI. It can be used for our teaching learning. The students are allowed to read it, but we're not allowed to reprocess it, things like that. So one of the examples, the Moodle summarize function, is taking text from the page. If you have a piece of text where you've written 90% of it, you might have a paragraph which you've quoted or lifted or has some other restriction. It could be commercially sensitive. You're using it as a teaching illustration. Having a way to mark that up as that can't go into the AI is going to become increasingly important for staff to be able to say, these are the guidelines, this is what you need to do. And that really then informs the RAG process of preventing that content entering RAG, and importantly, the RAG subsystem that we need to have, it needs to prevent that content coming back out again, so that it's not exposed to the student, it's not part of the third parties, and it can be extracted from that database of content that we're using. And I really believe that Moodle needs to be involved in that process. I think there's too many features in Moodle which are fundamentally based on dynamic data for us to be saying we can snapshot that information once a week for a single user. There are pedagogic behaviors if you're using things like progressive release or you want to gate people's progress to a thing based on attainment, which are fundamentally based on things like security measures like restrict access. If you're snapshotting that content once a week for every single user, one, it's a massive amount of data to be potentially shunting out of Moodle. But if they complete that on Thursday and they have to wait a whole week to get their content in their AI updated to have that conversation, it's going to impact the pedagogic design. So Moodle needs to be in there to do that dynamic disclosure, provide the most up-to-date information about the content, which is in your VLE, which is in every class that's in there. And on top of that, we want to propagate that usage out as well. We use it to control what we present in Moodle, use it to build into Moodle plugins. And it was touched upon in terms of Martin talking about robots.txt being law. There's a fascinating conversation going on in the Internet Engineering Task Force about a vocabulary for AI usage, which is basically saying, yes, this piece of content, I'm asserting that you can take it off, you can put in an AI to give a search result, because I expect you to index it, transform it, but provide a link back to that content, but you cannot transform it into something new. And that whole discussion about vocabulary and content creators, but also content owners, being able to describe it, but that to be carried through the whole AI process, I think is a really important conversation. I don't think Moodle can do that directly from just a site level. We have to almost do that at a resource level thing, because there's so much different content in our Moodles to do that. I think the final thing that we want to talk about is, it also highlighted, as a developer, AI is really disruptive. We need to have those controls as developers. The developers will be building all these experiences. We are going to be building new ways of interacting with these AIs. And we need the capabilities to be able to control appropriate use of those AI functions. And those have to be either decided by the developer that it's inappropriate to have this AI experience available to students, or we can make that decision available to the educator. The example that I have, which came up when we demonstrated this, everybody can't, well, we've got to turn it all off. Love the Moodle summarize text function. On an essay question, it just gives them the answer. And that's where we need, as developers, to say, within the essay question, I need to turn off that AI function, because from the educational perspective, it doesn't make sense. It undermines what we're trying to do with that. That said, somebody went up and said, but I want them to do an AI-based exercise in an essay question. The mechanic for turning that off needs to be something that can be developed, can be shared out with our developers, to really give the flexibility to build a really interesting, vibrant set of AI plugins. And I think Moodle has to be right at the core of doing that management on control of content across the board, and making sure it's safe, secure, and meets our obligations that we have as institutions. It's not just about the shiny AI part that comes up when the student gets, here's an AI button, or when the staff button happens. This is really just trying to share a story about what we looked about when we started showing people a straw man for it. I hope it's some things that kick off ideas and discussions and influence the way we think about developing the Moodle AI subsystem. It's one of the areas I'm really excited about, and that's all I've really got to say. Hopefully that's given us some time back as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael. Michael has been in the Moodle AI group since the beginning, and one of the is always the regular. And as is everyone you're going to see today, they're all in it. So next up, Dr. Peter Mayer, and I'll let you introduce yourself. Let's get you plugged in. Excellent. And yeah,
I can stay here.
It's not that clear, so hang it.
Okay.
Try this anyway. I think you want more freedom, and keep it close.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Now you can read my emails, but not what I want to show you. It's still working. Yes. Now we can start. So hello, Seth. I can be here and. Is it on?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yesterday I told you a lot of things, or a lot of stuff, what we developed in the past years. But what I not talked yesterday was our AI manager. I get a lot of questions from the community why we are developing our own AI manager and not using the AI subsystem. And there are a bunch of reasons why we don't use them. Sorry. Something. Okay. No. Why it does not? I just break it and start it new. Yeah, now it works. Okay, why not choosing AI subsystem as a base? Because we have a very big instance, you already know, and we need a tenancy mode. And this is because of our monolithic infrastructure. Each tenant school can use individual configured LLM settings, and not only for one LLM, he can decide he can create several instances of the same LLM. And we have special legal requirements. For example, logging, for example, terms of use, viewing rights for prompts and completions, and so on. We have time-based, we need time-based deactivation of AI features in courses by the teachers. We need configurability within the course with features should be active. That means the teacher can decide if a chatbot is available, if image generation is available or not. And a lot of things that the teacher has to decide for his specific class and his specific pedagogical setting, and we cannot provide these information and these these kind of setting within the AI subsystem. And there are some more hard ones. The placements make it very hard for us, for developers, to deploy new features on the spot. That means if I need somewhere a button, I have to create a contribution. The same for actions. If I need a new action, I have to contribute changes to all existing providers, and all has to be contributed into core. Even if everything is integrated, it will take at least 6 months, or at least, I believe, more than a year to get all the features up and running. And this is too long, too inflexible, it needs too much time and too much effort for us. And this also requires that my instance is at the head of the development, that we can get new features as soon as possible to our instance. That is not the case if someone has an LTS strategy or so. We have the strategy to be at the head of the development. We always go to the latest release of Moodle in about 2 weeks after the release or so. So we can do it, but most of them can't do it. And these are very hard limitations why I believe the AI subsystem at this kind it is now. It's not as good as we need it to, and it's not as flexible as we need it to. And now I want to show you a close-up what our AI manager has on special needs and special settings, provides on special needs and special settings. I already presented all the other functions and features yesterday, therefore I will not go into them again now, also to save some time. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. We can talk afterwards. I only focus on the AI manager now. So, for the tenant manager. Sorry? This should be in screencast, why it won't? Something is here. Okay. So let me make it like so. Okay. you can access for the tenant manager, the tenant management pages are available over the primary navigation. And quite similar to the subsystem, you can create new instances of connectors to provide LMS to the plugins. The very different is from the AI subsystem is that we work with purposes instead of placements. That means that we can reuse the internal API for the purposes in different plugins to provide different features in different places. You can multiple you reuse all the things. We need the limit to amount the requests. I have to stop a little bit because I'm a bit delayed now. We have to limit the amount of requests the users can do. Each tenant admin can decide of its own how many requests a user can do within one time frame. And the time frame is also choosable. Each tenant admin also can decide with LLMs could be used in which purpose. This was already here. Sorry, here. He can choose which user group can use a specific instance, and teachers can use more detailed ones or better ones or more expensive one, and students get something special and on the other side. And we got each tenant admin also can view and configure the rights of the students. That means, that means you can individually decide if a user can access to AI or not. You can turn it on and turn it off, centralized, and not only and not generally for all users on and off. You can do it for a specific user. There are a lot of pedagogical environments and settings where this is important for. You can define a usage scope. That means if, for example, is a chatbot available on the dashboard or just in courses, and this is different for students and teachers. This was a legal requirement for us to do so. And the AI manager meets the requirements of our data protection and use protection officers by logging every interaction of the student and making it accessible for the teachers. So you can really see the prompt, the AI response, and when it was. You can scroll through the whole history of it. I believe it's a great feature. What was a legal requirement for us to fit. You see a lot of these features, and I believe a lot of institutions also will need something like this. Just a question: who believes that these features will be needed for your institution also, or for your instance? But neither of them can be done within the AI subsystem. It's sad. So I have to switch back to the presentation now. Okay, and what's for our target group most important next? You already said it. We need something who support teachers and support students, and therefore we think AI agents will be the next hot stuff to have a look at, where we're looking at. And I already told you these 3 points yesterday. We want to support our teachers for creating high-value content. We want to support our teaching for carrying out exercises. And we want to support our students in taking responsibility for their own learning process. Martin, you already shown some minutes ago
great features and great needs, and great visions, what we want to expect and we want to expect how to learn in future. And a lot of them already can be done with our system. It's absolutely great. But the agents are going a step further, and they are close. They are technically feasible, but we have to improve the context. We gather more details of the current pages. For example, we need more, for example, syntax of question types, pedagogical approaches, and so on. And a lot of examples. We need much more data to get the information and the answer and the completion of the agents much more fitting of to the needs of the users. And this will also include a lot of pedagogical research, deep research and base research to increase the pedagogical proven examples, because I can figure let an agent or a chatbot today already figure out a pedagogical setting, but is it good? Is it good for learning? Will it support learning? I don't know. We have a lot of proven pedagogical examples, but they are not reachable. And we need data. We need data already. The needed data almost already exists. For example, the Moodle specific in the documentation. Often they are not structured in some kind of research papers in the big in X archive or so. It's or in Elsevier and Pearson and wherever they are not often accessible for us, and there are limited different sources, and we need them to improve our teaching for in one single instance or in one single source, or make it possible to acquire a lot of different sources to get information from them. And we have to make him accessible for every individual Moodle instance. This will be a really, really, really hard task. And what are your opinions? How can we make C-specific data accessible to the whole community? And how can we make the AI subsystem more flexible and open for different approaches, like our AI manager? To get it in, we are open. We are open to contribute all our functionalities to the AI subsystem, but it needs a little bit work together, and we perhaps we can find a way, and perhaps we can step into a deeper communication about this, how we can figure out something like this. And is there perhaps even a way to achieve closer cooperation or integration of central functions and features? And thank you for your attention now.
Thank you so much, Peter. I love seeing all that. Like, this is an example of when AI is so new and we're still in a very experimental phase, the innovation comes from the action research happening at the coalface. And the pressure how many students in the Bavarian school system, Peter? How many students roughly on your systems? Yeah, 1.6 million students. That gives you some pressure. So thank you so much. All right, next up, we have Vadim is coming up, I think. Have I got that right? Yep, there you are. Plug in, Vadim. So Vadim Nerasov. And okay, we'll get you in there. And I'll let you introduce your topic here. Now, I mentioned course content generation wasn't that exciting because I was talking about learning, but I still think it's super essential that we work on this. And Vadim's going to talk about what they've been doing. Here, take this mic. Just
okay. Thank you.
Keep it nice and close.
In one stage with Martin. Oh gosh. Okay. Hello. I'm Vadim Narcesov, Lehrling, Germany, Premier Moodle Partners, and I can. First of all, the serious question: who can speak Ukrainian language? No one. Okay, then my presentation will be in English. Okay, my topic is a course content generator based on already uploaded content. First of all, some theory. What ambitions do we have as educational providers? We need to stay competitive, and we want to deliver truly personalized support for every learner. And why do we want this? So securing our place in the market, meeting learner expectations, staying up to date, and guaranteed learner success. And then goes a Death Star from Star Wars. So it's major providers flooding the market with wide range of programs, innovative formats, and aggressive pricing. And why so hard to keep pace? Trainers and experts are so pricey, slow content production, and differences between learning levels. So what can be done? So option one, we continue as before. Option two, hire more pricey trainers and staff and so on. And option three, the anonymous learning platform. So AI learning platform who can define course materials, creating content, delivering knowledge, guiding learners, preparing them for exams, and handling administration. So what is a Moodle workflow for our system? Trainer or admin can upload materials. It could be PDF, docs, TXT, or even URLs from other websites. Then RAG AI system analyzed all this stuff, and instructor or Moodle admin make some configuration inside our plugin. I mean, what tone should it be? What difficulty for these activities, future activities, should be inside course, and in what style of communication with students should it be? And then we have a fully automatic content generation process. So I mean, it's native Moodle activities such as assignment, book, forum, quiz, lesson, and page. Let's see some screencast demo. So I put some PDF material, Star Wars timeline. What else should it be? Then I click this ugly brain icon to move it to the AI brain. And then we have AI assistant. So as a student, I can type whatever I want to find out about this course. I can consider only resources from this course or from all over Moodle system. So what is Star Wars? I type. And here we go, the answer, AI-generated answer, and the link to the specific PDF material or whatever it is from which we took this information. So the next one is training quiz. It's also feature for students. So, for example, prepare me to the Star Wars exam. These questions don't go to Moodle question bank. It's just for preparing students for the exam. So I can answer the questions, click submitting, and receive my score, my points, and if it's open question, I can read AI-generated feedback. Why is it true or false? So the third part is the content generation system. I need to choose material and choose what I need, what activity I need to generate. So first of all, it's homework for the Star Wars beginners. Okay, create content. It took about 60 seconds, so I just cut it out from the video. I need to name this activity, activity title, homework, choose a section, and boom. Yep, here we go. Homework. So it's, as you see, it's native Moodle activity. I can edit it as I wish. So just simple as that. The next one is quiz. History of the Star Wars. Create content. Oh, no, sorry, it's lesson. It's lesson, and I can create the whole lesson or page by page. I can also add this page to existing lesson, or I can create new one, lesson title, section, and boom. We have a new lesson. Also editable, so normal Moodle activity. Then we have quiz. With quiz we can customize, of course, and I can make 2 multiple choice questions, 2 true-false questions, and open question, 1 open question. So, of course, I need to type something. For example, Star Wars for the advanced students. And generate content. Yep. Now I have the question which saved in question bank, and it's also normal standard quiz activities inside Moodle. Now I click to prompt customization, of course. So as a teacher or as an admin of the Moodle platform, I can add some pre-saved topics to each prompt. So how long should it be, for example, how long lesson should be, how long page should be, how hard should it be, and so on. So it's fully customizable and ready to use. And the most important thing is this plugin, it's not the final version, of course. It's built for one of our clients. And it's work with RAG system API. And in this system, we have a lot of more possibilities to work with. So if you need something else, we just make some another feature, and it's really impressive. Feel free to ask me more questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vadim. There'll probably be time for some questions and discussion at the end, I think, too. But I really liked the interface. It was a nice co-working flow, very easy. Very nice. Does it use the AI subsystem out of interest? No, it doesn't. See? That's what we have to fix, all of us. Thank you, Vadim. All right, next up, Joseph Thibault is coming up here. Come up, get plugged in, Joseph. And it's going to talk about some AI agents in Moodle, but maybe not how you expect.
Definitely not. You know, it's nice. I was worried about a Matrix reference, but following a Star Wars reference at a reference to a Lord of the Rings is...
I love it all.
Nerds, yeah.
You're in the right place.
Okay, and I have a timer. Okay, so...
Got a mic? Or no,
can you hear me? I think this works.
It just needs to change to extended monitor.
Oh. No, you guys shouldn't see that.
Sorry a second. Windows key. Yeah. Hold down function. Oh, sorry, yeah, go for it. That's the one above. Oh.
No, I didn't.
It's the one above, extended. Second one up, yeah. Just go and grab that window. Just bring it back.
All right, now no surprises, so, or it'll all be a surprise. So, yes, I'm going to talk about agents, not agents that build your course for you, but agents from the perspective of all the AI that students have access to, which you don't give them, right? So, which is considerable. So agents in the LMS, lots and lots of ways to do this. For time we had to cut the screening of Matrix 1. I'm really sorry, but maybe we can catch up later and watch it together. A couple months ago, I used some agents. This one is particularly called Manus, which I sicked on one of my Moodle courses, and it was as simple as a prompt as go to this course. It was authenticated already, and do all the activities. That's the only prompt that I gave it, and it completed essays, quizzes, all of manner of Moodle activities just by navigating itself, looking at the screen, very little input from the end user. So wanted to make sure that people were aware of that and some of the other AI that students have access to. So who am I? I'm Joseph Thibault. I'm so appreciative of being on the stage and being at the Moot. So thank you very much, Martin, and the entire Moodle staff for putting on such a great event. I have written about Moodle in the past. I wrote a blog called MoodleNews.com, which was like amazing fanboy site, if you remember. I also used Moodle to serve 300,000 students for online education in the US. And now I have a plugin, and we're onboarding right now as a certified integration partner. Our focus is on human writing, biometrics, really trying to make human learning part and component of Moodle and maintain that. Please connect with me. That's my QR code to my LinkedIn. So to be clear, students are probably not currently using agents in your courses, but agents are capable of taking courses. The most effective way for students to bypass any of the policies that you have set up is basically to leverage any of the many, many tools that can make them faster, cut corners, cut right through, get the task done, to use that kind of dichotomy that Martin set up. Years ago, there was already this kind of like browser extension where I could see the screen and I could have it highlight questions and I could have it answer. Now, you don't have to use a browser extension to do that anymore. This is baked into most modern browsers. Copilot in Edge, if anybody is using Microsoft, I would say it's much improved since Internet Explorer days. Most recently, also in Chrome, it recognizes when you're on Moodle or Canvas or D2L sites and gives you a homework help right in the URL bar. So it's really hard to try to dodge this. If you're a student trying to learn, you're just getting AI just pushed upon you every single page of your art. It's simple as highlighting the text on the page. I do want to call out here that this is Chrome. So Gemini choosing that it thinks that it's an AI named Claude answering the question. That's just some irony for you. Yes, they do hallucinate. Another tool that's out there now you should be aware of, that even if you're doing a live session in Zoom, there are tools specifically made so that you can, as a student, hide your use of AI from whoever might be monitoring your screen. Even in a screen share, this is what I see as a student, but the teacher would not see anything. They would just see my screen. They wouldn't know that I have access to a high-powered LLM while I'm doing this. So there's particularly from a site called Cluely, which their tagline is, "We're AI to cheat on everything." So there are also obviously peripherals, right? I could, if anybody's wearing some Ray-Bans right now, hey Meta, take a picture. Okay, send that to me if you get it. This actually, Julian Ridden's glass hole glasses that I used about a decade ago, but they've come a long way. They're already being used in examinations, even face-to-face exams, where you might have very, very strong invigilation already being used to connect to ChatGPT and other services like that in order to cheat. So, there's many more of these. The peripherals, the watches, this access, this ambient AI is available essentially all manner of times. So, a lot has changed in just 3 years. This is just an example. It's like I work in tech, so I have access to a lot of AI. I have to pay for a lot of AI in some cases. And there's this, I'm just inundated. And this isn't even showing the fact that Grammarly might also be installed on my computer and also telling me that it can write for me, right? So 6 different places plus a button on my keyboard to invoke AI at all times. So imagine what your students have access to. So this is for me more than you guys, but just to put things back and to bring back to kind of where we started, right? Can an agent take a course? I think that the answer is largely yes, right? So think about how this might be impacting your students as they access these large language models and frontier models. Every single one now offers some type of computer use, whether that's a free version or a premium that they're using to access. So one of the things I wanted to make sure is can I tell if a student is using AI? So I thought the very first thing to do would be let's look at the logs. And it was my IP address, it was from my computer, so it's quite obviously, it's kind of mimicking me as a user. It's not necessarily, it's taking its time. They're so slow right now that they appear to be navigating pages just like people. I would think that might change. You might be kind of limited, at least rate limited by how quickly they can navigate screens and how quickly your page views load, but there wasn't any particular evidence to show me that this was an agent that had taken that course. So, my MO is to try to figure out, I'm about the human learning that's happening on learning management systems. There is a place for AI in education, but learning is quite frankly, I think, a human endeavor and want to maintain and make sure that we're doing that. So my focus is on writing. One of the things that we've done is to augment Tiny MCE with more granular revision data. Now we have a plugin that stays locally. Right now, our free version is basically in the US, we call it process tracking. But in a sense, it's building all the granular data of the actual writing process and showing that back to teachers. So it's really kind of a focus on the behavior and actual effort of learning, right? That friction should be visible, and the process, quite frankly, is much more important these days than the end product. We also can detect and kind of show where the pastes are. This works with the AI subsystem. If you want to tease out, if you're connected to our API, you can see both of those things as well. So agents are not all bad. I think we saw some great examples how it's going to revolutionize how you can create courses and how quickly this will get a novice Moodle user all the way up into an expert with amazing courses being able to be created so quickly. Think of the potential of an agent for QAing a course, looking for places where it's hard to navigate or it's not clear what to do. If an agent can't do it, something might be wrong in your course. There's also, I think, tons of questions that I have about how this might impact how Moodle evolves over time. If agents are allowed, and if we are, I think there's a good question. If we were in the business of training and helping AI to learn, I think we would have sold the data from our LMS a long time ago to the LLMs, and I don't think that's the case. So how do we identify whether this is occurring? How do we identify where real student learning is occurring? And how might we even talk to some of the large frontier models to prohibit the access of our learning management systems from AI tools and sites or agents that are just freely navigating on behalf of somebody else. So thank you very much.
You actually finished early. Well
yes,
done.
I did.
Wow, fantastic, Joseph. And what I loved about that was, I mean, it hadn't really occurred to me before that I saw that paper was not in the program, was, like Twitter, we know, is full of bots. Your courses in the future could be full of bots. You won't know, or pretending to be students. So that's a real, we have to work on this. I believe it's a huge issue if we're going to have any trust at all in our online learning processes at all. Thank you for that, and thank you all of you. Really good I'm so glad I was able to give you some space, because it would have been a weaker conference if all these things weren't said, I think. Now, Heikki, let's recap what was happening with Heikki. Heikki asked for an idea to develop a Moodle plugin in this very session. And he was tasked with developing an entire Moodle plugin in the session. I don't think that has anyone's ever tried that before. I think that's a world first that we've ever tried to develop a Moodle plugin in a presentation. So, let's find out how did he do. Over to you, Heikki. Tell us all how you went.
Okay. So, I've got a local plugin here now, course quiz overrides. And there's 2 quizzes. And for the minimum viable product, I just added the functionality to add a custom time for users. So this looks familiar, right? I think I'll add my other account, enable, let's put like 30 minutes for me. There's also a checkbox for updating existing overrides, but now, since there's no existing ones, I just click Save Changes. And now you got the override for the quizzes, and now you can add new ones, delete them, or update them. Let's go see if they're actually there. So let's go to the quiz and overrides, and it's there. So this took 25 minutes with Claude Code and Claude 4. So what made this possible was, well, obviously the advances the agentive AI has made recently, like we just heard, and there's good and bad sides to it. But also, we had really good discussion in MoodleMoot DACH 2 weeks ago in Lübeck about how Moodle developers could use large language models, and there was, let's see, sorry. Yeah, Alexander Mikash had the idea that we should have like a modular prompt framework, because Moodle is so complex. The agents get lost when they start producing code. So we need to have some kind of modular prompt so that that helps the language model to look at which aspects of Moodle code it should look at, and what are the best practices, what are the patterns that they should use, and what are the patterns they should avoid. So I started experimenting this after that discussion, after that session, and I've been trying different plugins, and it works pretty well. But the thing is that, well, sorry. So here, yeah, I have this repository, modular Moodle development prompt, and the idea is that you clone this repository, then you start developing plugins with the assistance of an LLM agent on top of it, and it's not a one-shot thing. There's always bugs, right? There's false, there's dead ends and whatever. But you iterate it with the assistance of the language model, and then in the end you have working code. Well, all of my attempts so far have ended up with working code. There was one very complex one that took 3.5 hours. This took a little under half an hour. But in the end, you ask the agent to revise this modular prompt system, add to the to the prompts. So it works like this. There's this main file, which is platform agent agnostic. It can be used with any, open source agent, closed source agent, any model. Yeah, thanks. So there's like different sub prompts for different plugin types, as you can see, and then there's a file called patterns. And that's the stuff where the agent puts add stuff after every development attempt. So I think that this way we could build like a prompt library that would help us all to use LLM to develop Moodle plugins. Maybe in the future even to debug existing plugins or make them compatible with a new Moodle version. So this way the context doesn't get too crowded with stuff. The agent chooses which files it will load based on the instructions in the main prompt file. So everybody who's interested in trying out vibe coding for Moodle, please clone the repo, make pull requests, try it out, let me know how it goes. And yeah, so far I just tried it with Claude Code, but it would be great to test it with other models and make it. And it's mostly this is meta prompting, which means that I've written hardly anything. It's mostly written by Claude, because Claude is way better writing prompts than I. So ironically, the first job made obsolete by large language models was the prompt engineer. So just let's keep iterating it, and I think if somebody who's better developer than I could take a look at it and see, there must be lots of stuff that's not a good fit with existing Moodle coding practices. We should get rid of those also. So there's lots of room for improvement. And okay, and now, how much time we have? A few minutes. I'd like to have a short discussion on what this means. Obviously, it could mean the dawn of sloppy Moodle code done by everybody, spreading everywhere. We still need somebody to take responsibility for the code, like humans, like you and I, right? Who has the resources to peer review code if everybody is creating code left and right? Okay, let's comment right away. Marcus.
Thank you. I had my plugin reviewed in the plugins review process by Dan Marsden of Catalyst. Oh yeah, they review. Those are people who do it really seriously. So we continue to need humans, however much this stuff develops.
Yeah, exactly. So, but of course, if I want a new plugin for the University of Helsinki Moodle, we don't just put all the new plugins there. It's a complicated process where we need to vet the plugin and the maintainers and whatever. But we all have smaller Moodle instances, prototypes. I think this is a great way to try out new ideas. For example, I'm going to show you quickly one thing that I vibe coded. This idea that we also came out of the discussions in Lübeck 2 weeks ago. I had the idea that it would be nice to have a bulk edit functionality to the question bank. So let's say you inherited a bunch of questions and you want to improve them, add proper feedback, maybe make them a little bit more difficult, so the false answer shouldn't be that obvious, and so on and so on. So I wanted to prototype that. So I used this new modular prompt architecture to create a plugin that does that. So there's this bulk edit button in the question bank, and then there's this kind of edit page where you can put the modification prompt. Here are the questions that are selected. And then there's a new prefix to the new questions that are created. And then you just click, and it sends them to the language model. And new remixed questions or improved questions are sent back to the question bank. And this works this is also completely vibe coded. But it was interesting to try it out, and I'm not that convinced if it's a useful plugin once I created it. But I didn't. It was very interesting to try it out. So these kinds of experiments become possible with very minimal coding skills with these kinds of systems. I don't think this will ever be in production, but I think it was useful exercise to try it out. And so, okay, this has been firmly in the AI working for you and not learning with AI things, right? Like referring to Martin's distinction earlier. So I think one problem here is that what happens to the next generation of Moodle developers? Will this hinder learning Moodle architecture properly? I don't know. Do you have any thoughts? I'd love to hear somebody's thoughts on this. Tim, please.
Hi, Heikki and Martin, thanks. Very interesting session. So, just what we were saying about peer review. Actually, can I have a little aside? There's a lot of the hype about AI seems to suggest, well, AI is very good at generating content. I don't think the problem the world has is not enough content. It's like, we want quality content, like we've had this morning. So actually, and also thinking kind of some of what Martin was talking about, can we develop some of these prompts to get the AI to do a basic code review rather than generate the code? And then, if we can we hook that into the tracker? So anyone submits any code, as well as the human peer review, you just the immediate feedback help you learn. So let's prototype that.
We could.
Yeah.
See how good it is. Like Heikki, you try an idea, it may be good, may be rubbish, and we throw it away. But let's try and iterate quickly. I'll stop rambling now.
No.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's a great idea. We should totally do it. Yeah. And I think it might even be that this kind of prompt collection might be useful for those, mundane tasks that people might find tedious, such as writing tests or stuff like that, or even peer review. But I don't think that peer review can be very exciting as well. It's not necessarily tedious. Yeah. Yeah. Just repeating what Tim said. So he said that peer review has also lots of repeating mundane stuff that could be automated with these agent models, and I completely agree. Yes.
I was going to say, it's sort of bracketing the other side of it. It would be really interesting to see how this interfaces with things like Moodle Academy to provide training activities and validation for training Moodle developers. So actually, when you get to peer review, they've already had the benefit of these prompts being applied as part of their education, and can that be used to keep that education of Moodle developers up to date with all the different things that happen in prompts? And if we are sourcing all those changes and knowledge from developers who are using it day to day in browser, that keeps that training up to date as well, potentially.
Yep. There.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. I've been using LLMs extensively for some time now to generate code, to assist with coding tasks. And one thing that's repeated over and over again is they always, without question, produce security vulnerabilities. So yes, you could use an AI assistant to review the code, but you're still going to need somebody who's an SME to some degree in a security field to suitably audit that code and make sure that what you're getting is no longer vulnerable. Because almost always, the outputs are some of the most basic vulnerabilities, like path traversals, cross-site scripting, all of the basics in security that ought to really no longer be an issue, are always generated by AI outputs. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. That's a great point also. And there's some kind of basic security checklist that existing here already in the prompt library that probably catches some really obvious mistakes. But as you know, it's nothing compared to somebody, an experienced reviewer who understands the code base. But this could still help, and especially if we could get somebody experienced to update these security checklists and quality standards, that would also help to eliminate more like obvious security problems that exist, like new plugins or existing plugins might have. Marcus.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
just a very quick point I was just going to make. You talked about trying to, people not being able to learn the Moodle architecture properly anymore if they just rely on AI tools. I think it struck me that I think we've long known that the Moodle architecture is far, far, far too complicated in the first place. And although I'm very proud of 15 years of experience and knowing an awful lot of it, I'm very much looking forward to the discussions about re-architecting and adjusting the architecture of Moodle, which have been talked about, I think, later on today, and hoping that maybe we will get to a point where that is not a particular problem, because it will be a much more sensible architecture for both humans and AI to work within.
I'd like to reference what Tim Hunt said there about, do we really need more content generated by AI? And it seems to me that the word content, the name of this stuff is artificial intelligence and creating stuff. What about evaluating stuff, which is a high-risk thing? In my speciality, there's a whole field, and right at the moment, I'm aware of I think one Moodle plugin, commercial or free, that evaluates the student input, certainly for free, and that's mine. And I expected every man and his auntie to be creating this kind of stuff, and they haven't, and I'd be curious to know why people haven't done that.
I'm just gonna, if you want to download the slides, the QR code is there. Yeah. So I'm out of time. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Heikki. Great job. Amazing. Is my mic working here? Look, to sum up here, we had more time planned for a discussion, but I love this discussion that just happened. My summary of the situation is the power of AI to do work is there. It's clearly there. We need to work together more to harness it, to modernize this platform, and please do go see Travis's session as well. And look, if we can do a plugin in 20 minutes, maybe we could modernize it in a month, right? Right? Next year, maybe, who knows, right? We can. And I think I see the role of Moodle HQ as just being that coordinating locus, the center, to keep a consistent platform, right? To own the consistent platform. The features, the real features that we need have to come from the coalface, from you who are using Moodle in anger or happiness with millions of actual students in real situations, in the real world, with regulations, and with all of the things that you have to, all those factors you have to cope with in the modern educational world. And we are becoming all empowered to do it. And the difficulty now is not going to be the grind of putting code together as much as the ideas and the high-level thinking. And that's why I was introducing, again, the learning theory, because we've got to get back to reality, not be led by what we did in the past, or what the processes we had, or what regulations are around that we have to conform to, but what actually helps humanity. Because we, as a species, are facing an enormous change coming up. This is literally a fourth industrial revolution that we're going to be living through. We're looking at, in the next 10 years, the automation of vast amounts of society. A lot of those things is what we've been training people for. So it completely affects education in that way. not just the process of education, but the point of education. And I think Moodle as a community are the best placed community in the world to think about that. We're global, we're empowered, we have so much strength just in this room, but like if you think of all the Moodle users in the world and in all different types of Moodle uses, it's immense. If we can gather and harness that energy to create a platform, an open platform for the world that serves humanity and helps us steer towards a utopia rather than a dystopia, I think we should be doing it. I think we can do it. And I'm very positive. I'm so positive about things at the moment, generally. I know there's a lot of negativity in the world, but I also just see this groundswell of energy and possibility. So please, come join us. What you saw today was really a live demonstration of what happens at our Moodle AI meetings, pretty much, on a much bigger stage. So, come and join us at that link that I sent. The QR code I had earlier that I hope you all grabbed, I would love you to, in the next, if you think of it, if you have ideas right now, because we've run out of time, chuck them in that document. Just throw them in there, have a brain dump, put your name on it, dump them there, and we can use AI to summarize that, and we will, and we'll have a kind of summary of this session afterwards there. And I'll also put a link to the presentations, all of them. I'll get them from everybody and put them in that document. And also there'll be a link in there, if there isn't already, to our Moodle AI conversations, and you can join us ongoing, and let's all work on this together. All right? Thank you so much. Lovely to see you. And